Hi, I want to tell you a story. It changed my life, actually. Unlike some of my stories, which may not totally be true, this one actually is a true story. I'd just been laid off from yet another job, and I was looking for work, and in the time between the old job and what was going to be my new job, I became certified to teach Final Cut. This is almost a decade ago. Shortly after I became certified as a Final Cut instructor, I saw an ad in a Hollywood Reporter. It said, "Assistant Film Editor Needed. Must know Final Cut." Well, I'd just become certified, and as you know from anyone that has just graduated from high school or college, they absolutely know everything. You just have to ask them. So I knew everything there was to know about Final Cut, and I said, I can do this job. So I dialed the phone number, and a woman with a French accent answers the phone. I said, "Congratulations, I'm your new assistant film editor." Now, you have to understand in my background that I'm a video guy from way back. I haven't done that many films. But I knew Final Cut. I figured that was all I needed. So, drove down to Burbank, parked in front of a single-story bungalow, walked up the front door, knocked. A woman about that high, about my age, answered the door, invited me in. She sat in the wing chair, I sat in the couch. Now, whenever I go to a new place, I don't know about you, but I always scope it out. I looked down, there was a hallway that led off to the left, the bedrooms and the kitchen. There were pictures on the wall that were pictures. And then on the far side of the living room where we were sitting was a bookcase. And on that bookcase was an Oscar. Oh dear. Now, you may think, raconteur and world traveler that I am, that I talk to Oscar winners on a regular basis. You'd think this, but you would be wrong. This was the first real live, breathing, living Oscar winner I'd ever met in my life. Realizing that my life was not to be the same, I said, "Françoise," for such was her name. I said, "Françoise, what is that?" She says, "Oh, that's my Oscar." I said, "I know it's your Oscar. What's it for?" She says, "Oh, it's for film editing." Now I was in real trouble. I had two options. I could lie, or I could admit defeat and sneak out the front door. I chose, in this case, the second. And in so choosing, it absolutely changed my life. And here's why. I said, "Françoise, I've spent my entire life doing video. I've done one film. My own mother did not like it. Film is not just a method of communication, it's a way of life. And frankly, it's one that I don't know that well. So I would like to be taken out of the running to be considered your assistant editor. But I'd be really grateful if we could just talk about film editing for the next 15 minutes because it would really be helpful to me." And she very graciously said yes. And it would help my story tremendously if I could remember just one word that she said during that entire 15-minute conversation. And I can't remember a single thing except one answer to one question which changed my entire life. I said to her, "Françoise, how do you know when your films are done?" And she looked down in her lap, and she looked up with a small smile, and she said, "Done. Done. My films are never done. They take them with my arms wrapped around, and they rip them from my grasp, and they release them to the world. And I can still make them better." Now, I mean no disrespect to you or anyone else out there, but there's more talent in that one woman's thumb than most of the rest of us put together as a group. And she doesn't have the time to make her films to her satisfaction. All of a sudden, giant light bulbs went off in my head, and I realized, wait a minute. If she doesn't have the time, then we certainly don't have the time either. And it changed everything. It changed the books that I write. It changes the training that I do. It changes the articles, because I suddenly realized it isn't enough to simply focus on what button you click or what mouse movement you have to make. It's how do you make it in the most efficient way possible? How do you save time every step of the production process so you've got the time that you need to make your films to your satisfaction? Suddenly, the technology is important. But efficiency is even more important. And that became the guiding light of everything I've done since. Every class that I teach, every book that I write, every article. Technology is wonderful. Storytelling is wonderful. But if you can't get it done on time, all the talent in the world won't do you any good. By the way, her name is Françoise Bonnot, and she won her Oscar for editing Costa-Gavras' film, Z.